Well, we've got a text to read. So what's going to happen is we're going to read a text, which is about this topic. If you want to make some notes, if you've got paper and pen, you want to make a few notes, we're going to prepare for a discussion on the topic. Then we're going to talk, you three are going to talk for 6 minutes. I'm going to time you. And there's some points to guide you with your discussion, as usual. Then we've got another period in which you're going to do individual response, which is 1 minute to answer a question each. Great for you to get this practice early. You'll be like the superhero by the time you get to secondary school. So let us check our blog. It says below is an extract from a blog about cosplay, costume play. So here's our brief today. It says your group wants to give a presentation about cosplay in Hong Kong. Discuss with your group what to include in your presentation. So you're planning a presentation that you're going to do together. You may want to talk about whether cosplay is popular in Hong Kong, how Hong Kong society views cosplayers, how experienced cosplayers can help new cosplayers, anything else you think is important. So some phrases for us. First one, encapsulate your character. You need to encapsulate your character. You need to really embody the character and show what does the character look like. Some of these phrases are advice to the newcomers. If we look here, learn about your character. Get into character. Take time to prepare your costume. Maybe those would be pieces of advice to somebody who wants to start doing this. But you've also got advice to an existing cosplayer, an experienced cosplayer. You could say, lend a hand to the new people, offer some advice, and mentor the newcomers. Show them how to do it. So let's go to our guiding points again so that you can make a plan for what you most want to talk about. So if you look on this side, we've got those key topics, key discussion topics. I'm going to give you 4 minutes, or maybe 3, if I'm mean. Let's say 3.5 minutes. To make your notes that you might want to say in your discussion. You can read the article again for any information. Okay. Are we ready? Jackie says, no, not me. Okay. So, let's just check our brief. You are going to give a presentation about cosplay in Hong Kong. And you are going to have a discussion to decide what you're going to include in your presentation. So one of you is going to have to explain that again to me at the beginning. Do you want me to leave this open or shall we close the page? Does anyone need this to refer to?
Wait a second. Let me get a cap of, yeah. All right. Done.
I'm going to try closing it unless you need it. Has everyone got their discussion points written down?
Yeah.
Anybody? Okay. I think between you should manage. Are we ready? I'm going to put my timer on. Ready, steady, go. 6 minutes.
Hi, everyone. So today our topic is to discuss the trend of cosplay in Hong Kong. So in my opinion, I agree that it is an increasing trend. For example, in different popular events like Halloween, Christmas, lots of people dress like vampire or Santa Claus. So it shows that the trend is increasing. So how about your idea?
I agree with you, but not only some special days. Usually in some usual day, we can see a lot of people wear their maybe some character clothes in the streets or in the news. So it is very popular.
Anacon this year, a lot of the number of cosplayers are increasing sharply, but since the experienced cosplayers dislike the new cosplayers because they ruin the image for Hong Kong cosplay. How do you think about this?
That's a great point, Jackie. I agree with you, but I have a different idea on the society views. I agree it's a positive view because first, it's accepted by the society. Lots of different newspapers have reviewed it and introduced different new costumes to people. Secondly, people dress as different costumes and they always put photos on Instagram or Facebook. This also shows that the society views it as a positive opinion. How about you, Allegra?
Okay, you've had your 6 minutes. We have to stop. That was a good point at the end. I'm glad you did some research, Silas. You see how important it is to do some research because it gives you a lot more to talk about than just what you've vaguely heard of. Silas, what did you think?
Same as Allegra, it's a great opportunity to discuss with another two groupmates. And because I'm not really interested in animes, so I don't know much about it. So I guess I did a great job this time.
You sounded very convincing of somebody who knew what he was talking about. I was very impressed. I think that you're getting more comfortable, Silas. And I saw you using some of our suggestions from last time, like a polite way to disagree or to add something different. Because it's quite easy to say, yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. What you want to do if you do agree with somebody, tell them specifically what they said that you agree with. And then it shows you were listening. You can rephrase what they said. So I say, I agree with what you said on this point, and then tell them what they said or what you heard them say so that it shows you were listening carefully. And then as Silas did, you can say, that's a good point, but I don't really agree with it. Let me explain why. It's fine to disagree. That's how a discussion works. In fact, it's a bit boring if there's no disagreement. But then also, Silas structured his answers nicely. He said, firstly, I want to talk about this. Next, I want to talk about this. And then my next point or my last point is this. It shows a good logic to the argument or to the discussion. It shows that you've really thought about it and worked out what are the points you need to talk about and in what order are you going to do that. It shows that you've planned your answer well. Even if it's not true, it looks that way. It comes across that way. And there was some nice vocabulary. I liked when you said that the newbies can promote the culture of cosplay. That sounded great. I was very convinced. Jackie, what did you think of this experience? Was it terrible? Was it scary?
I think I'll describe it as interesting.
What did you learn from it?
The first time. Try to be more confident and speak in a more logical way.
Because what I noticed, Jackie, is you're a very confident speaker usually, and I saw that you looked a bit nervous and you couldn't quite work out what to say. But I think that I think maybe if you ask Silas and Allegra what they thought in the first one we did, they were also looking terrified. But now they got a bit more comfortable with it. So I think maybe it's just a bit new. You sort of, and also I think Allegra's doing this at school. Are you doing this at school, Allegra? You do this sometimes? So by the time you get to later in secondary school, you're getting some practice at school. So this is trying to support that kind of thing and get you prepared. And then when you get there, you will be like the top of the class. So what I want to do, we've got a bit of time, I hope, to do our individual response questions. We've got 9 minutes, which means I think I'm going to zoom ahead to what I thought was the most interesting questions. There's 8 questions. We don't have time to do all of those because we need 1 minute each. So what I would like to do is I want to go to questions number 7 and 8. Why do you think some young people enjoy the culture of cosplay? You've got 1 minute.
So before mentioning if they like, I'd like to make a definition of cosplay. So cosplay is something that you make yourself similar to some anime characters. So why do they like it? Because in my opinion, first, because they are a fan of some characters. So if they pretend them or act like them, so it is a scene scenario, or it can make them more look like those characters. Secondly, those characters give a idea of sometimes those characters are brave, or they are willing to help others. So these are some good spirit of it. So if other people, they want to learn about it and they want also to get those spirits, so they will also pretend as those characters to hope that they can be, looks like willing to help others, or looks like they are really participate in the cosplay.
Great. Okay, some interesting points. Quite well thought out. I could see you were thinking as you were talking, but well done. You managed to make some good, useful points in your answer. Jackie, are you ready?
Well, ready or not?
Ready or not, here we come. You got 1 minute.
They can express their identity in clothes, like the text or image on them, and also how they behave, like in their social life, like, and also how they think of different cultures, like they like it is weird or cool, or yeah, that's what I've got to say.
Okay, you're on 53 seconds.
Yeah.
Interesting thoughts, Jackie. So you also went for clothes and
Yes.
behavior in social life. My suggestion is that is a really good idea. You need to give some more examples or supporting detail. So what are you thinking of when you're saying behavior in social life? What sort of behavior would tell us something about a person? Opinions of other cultures, that sounds like an interesting point. Maybe we could have, again, a few more concrete examples, like, for example, people who are open-minded about cultural differences, like other religions or attitudes. I mean, obviously, there's cultural differences in attitudes and beliefs. Some people might say, oh, those people are ridiculous. They don't know anything, or they might be like, well, maybe they've got an interesting idea there. And that would show open-mindedness or acceptance or tolerance, at least, towards other ways of doing things. I'm not sure where you wanted to go with that, Jackie. I'm just talking myself. But you can
Because
see you
I
would
don't
need
have a clear
to.
point. I
Yeah,
really
well,
don't
you
have
would-
a clear point. I was just taking notes as fast as I can and scribbling it out.
So even if you say something like that, now you have to at least follow it through. You have to reason it through to make it into a good point. It's got good potential, but you need to show us why it's worth talking about with your examples or your further thoughts. So hopefully you see practice is really the best way, and actually being very uncomfortable and thinking I did it all wrong is the best way to think, how can I improve? I remember the first classes, Allegra and Silas were also sitting in silence going, what do I do now? And then after stepping away for it and thinking about it, you get a chance to improve for next time. For example, if you're in a group discussion and the one person gets stuck, you can help them. You can't do it in individual response, but in the group discussion, you could say, oh, I didn't really get what did you mean by that? Could you tell me more about that? Or do you mean this? You give them some suggestions. Don't sit in uncomfortable silence if you can help it, because in a discussion, you can help each other. All right. So it's sort of a team activity. It's, as I said before, it's not a competition. You don't get, it's not that I get the points and then you don't. Everybody is being scored individually, but it's teamwork. So time for us to finish. We didn't get to do a lot of detail on the different areas in which you were evaluated, but we could maybe look at that next time. The other activity that might be helpful is to have a bit more chance for peer feedback, where you get to give each other any feedback that you might have. Because maybe you notice something that I don't when you're listening to each other. Obviously, I'm listening for certain things. Maybe you notice something else. So that can be helpful. But for now, we're going to finish so you can get on with your evening. Thank you so much. Have a great day further. I hope you're feeling better next week, Allegra.